Yes, it's Faith in Finance. How you doing, Drew?
Pretty good. I would say it's a nice cold morning, and nothing better than talking about credit cards on a cold morning.
Yeah, right.
That'll warm you up.
I'm seeing the headlines on this, and so I don't know the details, but I'm seeing some of the arguments as well. So tell us a little bit about the meat on the bones on this
We're
thing.
going to be capping at the interest rate.
So Trump came out and said he wanted to do a 1-year cap on credit cards, and he said just do an interest rate of 10%. For 1 year, and that would help some people that are struggling with credit card debt. That because it could be as high as I don't know. I think
Some
it's
are running like 30%.
30%. I don't know if it has to do with state laws too, because there's but a lot of the usury state laws, like California has some. It doesn't pertain to credit cards.
Yeah.
It only pertains to other loans.
Oh, okay.
Payday loans it would pertain to, but a lot of them wouldn't have to do with credit cards. But so. We don't know too much details besides he kind of offered that idea. Mm-hmm. I think he's got the power to do that as far as I know. But there are debates about this, is that a lot of complain about is, well, how would that benefit? Like if you're someone that has good credit, you're low risk. Yeah. You're already going to have low interest rate.
Right.
So that's going to actually probably put a lot of the market, and it wouldn't extend credit out to certain people.
Right.
Could it raise interest rate for someone who's paying less than 10?
I guess it could. I mean, now one thing people have to understand about credit cards, and I think that goes back to like our credit card. What's the purpose of credit cards in the first place? Mm-hmm. And I would say that credit cards are out there just for the I would say there's two things. Why would someone have a credit card? Is number one, and I was kind of thinking about this, was there's a foundational problem with the economy that people have to go to credit in order to pay their bills.
Right.
And I don't want to put that down at all, because I think there's a lot of people that struggle.
Right.
And we have inflation that's hitting, and but that's the problem. You're putting money on this credit, and that could be a major issue. The other one is, I don't think is a good thing as well, is that some people have that materialistic mindset where you want to have the good before the work. Right. I have to have this, so I'm going to use my credit card. But I think the majority, I forgot what the number was. I think it was like either 40 or 60%. I can't remember which way. Most people use credit cards and they pay it off within a month.
Okay.
So they don't even use the interest on it.
And just get points and all.
And that's
get
smart.
The benefits.
Use it for the points. Use it for... don't use your actual bank card. So if it got stolen, your money doesn't get taken out. Right. Use something that you can cancel. It doesn't really hurt you. I mean, it could hurt you.
But let's go back, because I do think there's a bigger conversation to be had regarding high interest rates, not only on credit cards, but also on loans for a higher risk relationship, right? So there are people who need credit, but the person who is giving them credit is taking on a higher risk. And so is there some justification for saying, somebody's going to get a 2%, but somebody else is going to get a 15% or some other percent, because the risk is higher and the number of loans that are going to be not paid back does increase when you take on those higher risk loans.
I mean, that's exactly what it is. If you had a collateralized loan, say for like a house, you get lower interest rate, because if you don't pay it back, they just take your house.
There's property, right?
There's property there, and they sell. The problem about credit cards, and this is a fact. If you had a credit card, you don't want to ever put it in your spouse's name, because if you pass away, the credit card just disappears. And that's how credit cards work. So there's high risk involved with that. And people have to understand that credit card companies are competitive. They're trying to do the lowest rate, but there's so much high risk, high fraud. I think that's part of the reason why you get such a high interest rate. But it goes back to the point, why are we using credit cards? What is the purpose? And I think there's two things to it, is that there's a foundational issue with the economy that we're using it, or we are using it for materialistic goods that we don't need to.
And when you're looking at that first group of just survival, right? So one of the groups that's been thrown in, and I think there's a defense for this, thrown in as taking advantage of the vulnerable, are like the payday loans. But here's the thing. So if you're going to come out and say you're being a predator toward these people, what's the option? If a family is trying to survive and they actually need that bridge to the next payday for survival, not to provide a luxury, but just to make sure they can get cross that bridge to the next week. I get what they're saying about payday loans, but what is the option for a person in that situation?
And I think that goes to the problem as well, is that credit's always been looked at in the past that like if you had debt, that looked like a bad thing.
Right.
And that's how the society's always been. So then if someone had that, they knew that was an emergency. Yeah. Now the whole economy is debt. So it's hard to kind of to separate the people that need it. And then if you did separate it, and then the church can get involved. If you need money early, we're not going to charge you interest. We can let you borrow it, or maybe you have to hand in your paycheck so when it becomes available, that has it. But since it's so engulfed in all this debt, how do you separate someone who just uses it because they want to have material goods, they want to buy their kids the fanciest iPhone 17, and we want to do that kind of stuff. So I think that goes to the problem. The problem is the sin of usury. Yeah, it goes back to it, because why do we want the good before the work? And like Pope Innocent IV said, that he said that all sins will follow usury. And if you think about it, that kind of goes into contraception. We want the pleasure before the work. We want abortion. I want the pleasure, and I don't want to have the sacrifice of children.
And I have to have this much planned for each and every child so I can make sure I have their education paid for, their marriage paid for, their this paid for.
And if I don't have that, I don't want the kid.
Then I can't afford to have that child.
I don't want the child, and then we don't have kids.
And we've fallen for that because there are numbers associated with that. The economists tell us, if you're going to have a child, you need to have this much money available each and every year to raise that child. I'm like, my parents raised 7 children, and my father was a truck driver back in the 60s and 70s. Come on. That would not have fit into any economic package, but we never missed a meal.
Yeah, I don't think that number seems crazy when you look it up.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not a rich man, and I know I have 7 kids. It doesn't. Hopefully it doesn't cost that much.
Yeah, right.
But don't look at it. You don't look at the costs. You just do what is right, and you go forward with that. But I think that's the underlying issue with credit card, is that do we want to have – I was kind of thinking about this too, was this could be a good finance test. And I was kind of thinking about this. I don't do this with my life all the way, but I do this with my kids. When my kids ask me to play video games, I always attach some sort of sacrifice first. So I tell, like, Cole will come up to me and say, hey, can I play some video games? I say, now he knows the answer. He goes, okay, Dad, I'm going to do 30 push-ups. I'm going to read a chapter of the Bible, and I'll do like 2 pull-ups or something. Yeah. And I was thinking about that because I kind of do that with the kids so they can get have some sacrifice. But shouldn't we do that with all pleasures in our life? If you want to have something, and this could be the finance test, if you want something, and it's like, if you want that new computer, work hard and earn the money and then purchase it. If you want to have that bite of ice cream, now I don't do this at all. Maybe do a little sacrifice, like 5 push-ups. Do something that's a little difficult.
What if you're going to have a gallon? Because I usually... No, I'm just kidding.
A gallon, maybe you have to do 100 push-ups. But I was thinking about that. That might be a good finance test, and it kind of trains and gives us the formation we need to put sacrifice ahead of pleasure.
And again, I wish I had done that. I know my first credit card when I was young. Hey, now we can go out to dinner. Now we can go and do this. Now we can buy things at Penny's that we couldn't get, that we didn't really need, and it gets out of control in a hurry. And if you attach some sort of penance or some sort of an action against that, well, that would go miles and miles toward training young people.
You would appreciate the pleasure better because you would say, is that worth the sacrifice?
Right.
Just real quick, think about it. If you went into debt, you don't appreciate the good because you just bought it without work. But if you work first and earned it, then you understand, is that really worth it?
Yeah, you're going to have to...
Nicely done.
You have to work to earn the money to pay off the credit card anyway. So,
Later on,
Again, follow the wisdom of the church, moderation in everything. Measure, to your point, measure everything. And then when you're careful to do that, you feel good about the things you do.
Sacrifice beforehand will make you be moderate on all this.
Amen to that. And I will tell you, just from personal experience... Don't do the Vegas plan. It doesn't work. It's never worked.
Drew Blazsik, thanks for the wisdom, faith in finance. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you as well.